Hello! Today we are here to discuss Dinosaur World from Pandasaurus Games. So this was a Gen Con pickup. It hasn't been released yet to my knowledge. I don't believe it's come out at the stores yet, but it should be coming soon. So wanted to get this out so you can get a pre-look at this game. Before we get started, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell over there so you don't miss out on any of these great pre-release Gen Con games that we're going through or any of the other games from the collection. So, as far as Dinosaur World, this is obviously a 2021 release, or at least it should be. Its Board Game Geek rating is 7.9. Currently, its rank is 5,037. It's a 2 to 4 player game. It says it averages 60 to 120 minutes. We went a lot longer than that.
Yes, we did.
Granted, it was the first time playing. We needed to learn it. We had some
a few interruptions,
slower players, interruptions, and people not paying attention.
That never happens.
No. Ages 10 and up, which is probably about right. It's about that level. Design is Brian Lewis, David McGregor, and Marissa Mizura. Art was Kwanshai Moriya and Joe Shawcross and Andrew Thompson. Published by Pandasaurus Games again. I didn't see an MSRP for this yet. It's being sold, scalped, if you will, for $140. I saw from different scalpers online.
Is that the base game, or is that the game?
I assume I didn't go and look into them to see, but yeah, I assume it's the base game. The Gen Con, they had the base game and several little expansion packs that you could get. So I picked up the whole suite, but we only played with the base game tonight to learn it. As far as the quality of pieces, it's a mixed bag on this one. First of all, there's some really neat screen print, like the screen printed Jeeps. They call them Jeeples. I really like that.
That's fun.
The dice are nice. They're screen printed as well. There's the boards are inlaid, which would have been nice, but they're warped really bad.
Really badly warped.
And the bad thing is you're supposed to put tokens along the edges.
But the edges are curled up.
The edges are curled up, so they slide underneath your board. So that was a real problem. I wanted to figure out what I could do to flatten them. And I believe one of the boards, I think it was yours, the red one, on the back side of the player board, it had some run of color, like some of the ink didn't, it was smeared or something. Yeah, yours was the only one I saw that problem with. Apart from that, you've got little tiny baby meeples.
Yeah.
Some of these felt rough, like they were almost like a cheap 3D printer version as opposed to a resin.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it was the way they printed them or what, but some of them were not smooth.
Yeah, there were definitely some rough edges on them.
Yeah, the dinosaurs were pretty nice. They were 3 different varieties. Two meat eaters, one plant eater, and then the cubes I like the colors of them. We'll get into that, the theme, I guess, but I like the cubes all right.
Those tiny numbers.
Yeah, I hated those. So one of the features in this game, which I actually like the feature, is boredom is one of the attributes. So as you go back to the same rides over and over and over again, you're going to suffer a penalty. But the penalty markers are these tiny little chits that are going to be lost very easily.
Oh yeah.
So that was probably my least favorite bit of this whole thing.
The nice thing about it is it did fit into the little square that was on the hexes, but as far as like being able to maintain them, it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah. And they inlaid these player boards nicely, but the scoreboard wasn't inlaid, and I didn't understand that. I would have thought you could inlay that as well. It would have made things nicer because you can easily bump the turn order and some of the other things on there.
You can put 4 little divots into each of the victory point spots.
Yeah, there's no reason that shouldn't have been inlaid too. All in all, you mostly get tokens, bits, and you get these big tiles. The tiles are really nice, but this is a table hog.
Very
We had to play with 4 auxiliary side tables for all of our building out, and I almost went off of my auxiliary table with my map. And then the table is taken up with all the central auction boards and not really auction boards, but your public action boards.
Public action board, yeah.
And then
there's no room for like laying out the cards that you have to choose from, and then the tiles at the beginning that you have to choose from. It's a very big table hog.
Absolutely. So we needed a table that was probably twice the size of what we had, and that's not practical. People are going to have one of those just lying around. So this is something that you're going to need a lot of space for. All in all, I mean, I'm going to probably give the quality on this probably a 7 because I think there's some nice aspects to it, but the warping of the boards and the tiny chits really take away from it.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, there's definitely a lot of nice qualities. Some thought went into the pieces, the size of the pieces. There was thought in it. Maybe not necessarily the best way to do it, but you could tell that they really thought about it.
Yeah.
And so I think I agree. I think I'm going to go with a 7 on this.
Yeah. And I should mention there is a insert in the box that's supposed to hold all this. We'll see. We haven't put it back away yet, so we haven't had an opportunity to see if it's going to fit in there. It does appear like it will fit in there nicely. I haven't checked to see if the cards being sleeved would be a problem or not, but there's not that many cards, really.
Yeah, you shouldn't need to worry too much about that.
Yeah. So moving on to theme. So it's dinosaur. If you like Jurassic Park or anything dinosaur really, this is going to be an attractive theme to you. I like the theme of it. That's why I picked up Dinosaur Island before. I was not impressed with Dinosaur Island. I liked aspects of it, but the gameplay, there felt like there were basically certain strategies that were always going to dominate. This one, I will get into gameplay later, but I gave it another go because I heard good things about the expansion for Dinosaur Island, which I haven't tried yet, and I wanted to give it another chance because it did look appealing again, and just like Dinosaur Island did when I ordered it on the Kickstarter. It has the same resin dice. I didn't mention that, but it has the dice that look like they're the resin from what you see amber in Jurassic Park. They're okay. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the oversized dice that are in there, but they're okay. But yeah, I mean, it does exude theme. I mean, that's where this thing really shines. You've got the tiles look very reminiscent of what you saw in Suburbia, as far as the upgraded Suburbia. But they're set in a Jurassic Park theme, and some of it is really humorous. I love the humor in this.
Yeah, the T-Rex skiing thing.
And the Triceratops ring toss. That was great. I mean, there's a lot of little hidden humor in there. Well, not really hidden even. It's kind of out there, overtly humorous.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of fun in this, and I love the fact, the way it's like, well, you're running this park, you want it to be exciting, but then you also have to run the risk of your patrons getting eaten. So so we definitely had a few mishaps in our parks.
Oh yes, definitely.
You had the most.
I did indeed have the most mishaps in my park.
But you still won.
I did.
People didn't mind getting a few people eaten. It was
have enough fun.
That's right.
So what if Bob gets eaten? You
never really liked Bob anyway.
Bob was a butt.
That's right. Who invited Bob? So I mean, it's a fun theme. It's definitely appealing to players. I mean, unless you just absolutely hate dinosaurs, but I don't know too many people have anything against dinosaurs. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely light. It's cartoonish almost on the art, but I like it.
Nice art.
Yeah, yes. I like the art.
The symbols are really good. They consistent amongst that. So that's yeah.
So all in all, I'm probably at a 9 to a 10 range almost on theme on this. I might even go 10 on this. I don't know how much more you could do to make this a 10. So thematically, I think it is a 10 for me.
Wow, I was gonna go with a 9. But
Okay.
I think a 10's not far off.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna say a 9.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you could maybe have painted the dinosaurs a bit, or got
you know, maybe a few different little
maybe not quite cut them off square on the side,
Yeah.
rounded them. I don't know, but I mean, it's close to a 10 for me, if not a 10. So I'm going to go ahead and give it. So as far as the rule book, so the rule book is 20 pages long, cover front and back. I love the cover on it. It's matching the box cover.
Yes.
I like the art on that a lot. Actually, I like the art on this a lot better than Dinosaur Island's art. As far as
it's very less 80s neon.
Yeah. I think they overdid it a bit with that. This definitely, and with the T-Rex escaping the way it's on there, it's very reminiscent of the Lost World when it came out. It reminds me of that, and there is the reference, like the first. Like if you are trying to determine who goes first, it says the last person to have use hand gestures to teach a velociraptor gets to go first. So I thought that was funny. But I mean, it's got a lot of great pictures in it. It's segmented by color. It's really well laid out, and it was very clear on the read through what was supposed to happen. And it's the book itself. I would have really given this a high score. The only problem is the cheat cards, which normally are a great thing. There's misprints on them.
Yes.
So the book is correct, but when you look at the cheat cards, there's references that are swapped on the cards.
Definitely swapped.
And there's some of the characters that are supposed to give bonuses are incorrect.
Yeah.
So the rule book is fine, but the cards that you use that you're going to use the whole time you play,
the whole reference thing,
are completely wrong. So I'm hoping they print corrections and maybe you can send for them, because I really would like to have it, because it's going to confuse new players.
Yeah.
But if you stick with the rule book and ignore the cheat cards, or at least for those aspects, then you should be fine, because the rule book is actually really well done.
Very well done.
Even with the cheat cards, I'm still going to give it an 8. I think it was a really well done rule book. It really wasn't confusing once we got past all of the fact that nobody was paying attention while we were doing the rules and figuring it out. Once we got past that, I understood it.
Well,
you understood it.
As you were reading it to me, it was easy to understand what they were saying. Totally understood. So
the 50% of us that paid attention got it. All right. So as far as gameplay. So the gameplay of this, there's a lot to this as far as the different. I will use these cheat references during the video to go through this to make sure we get it all. So basically, there are 5 steps per turn. There is the hire workers step. So in that step, there are cards that you put out. Everybody's going to get to draft a card, and it's got 9 workers of different types. So 4 of them are always your standard white meeples that you can basically use all purpose. And then you're going to get 5 of them that are varying in color from yellow, blue, purple, and green. And those have specialties that you can assign that give them. You can still use them as a general all-purpose.
They still work as the whites, but you have to. But some of those other ones won't work and do what the specialties are.
Right. And specialties are really perks or bonuses to give you things, but they're also essential in buying certain buildings from the specialty buildings board. So you have 3 that after you get everybody's gotten their workers, you have public actions, and there's 3 boards that are for public actions out here. The first one is your standard. They have 4 buildings that everybody can buy one during the game. You cannot double up on any buildings in this game, so there's no buying up something so someone else can't get it.
Right. The attractions.
That's the attractions. So these are kind of standard basic buildings you can build that will give you some perks if you need money, or if you need the excitement, or if you just if you need some resources, or what I found most useful, security. So you can buy some of those buildings as you play through. There's no rush to buy them because of the fact that you know they're always going to be there. Right. Then there are the specialty buildings, and there's more impetus to get these early in the game because these are going to be bought up, and there's those buildings will generally require a specialist of a different type to use to buy them. They also have a coin cost. All these buildings up here have coin costs as well. But the ones here, you will have to pay whatever the color of the border is on the tile is what you're going to have to pay that color meeple in Addition. So some of them are generic, and then for those you can use any color meeple. Then there is also resource dice. So you're going to draw and draft 6 dice that are going to get rolled, and those will be available as a pool for getting DNA, which you're going to need to build dinosaurs. So you can go and use meeples to get the DNA dice, and you can buy it with 1, 2, or 3, and that's a multiplier for when you buy it for which of the DNA you buy on the dice that you will get that many times. If you use the blue meeples when you buy those, you get a perk because you can then use it to generate a DNA of your choice with each blue meeple you play. Then the final board is for your dinosaurs. This is where you're going to cage your dinosaurs. Yes. You don't actually get the dinosaurs until you use the DNA in another action later on, but you can get the cages to hold the dinosaurs. And it'll also give you ideas as far as what victory points you'll get when you build the dinosaurs and how much threat you're going to get from those dinosaurs. So you can make your decision up front. Do I want to risk it? And it's also got the costs of the DNA to build the dinosaurs, which is all important information. So that is the public actions, and you keep taking actions there until you decide you're going to pass. The thing is that worker pool you got at the very beginning, you have to disperse across 3 phases. Yes. This being the first one, the public actions. So you don't want to burn all your workers in this phase, because if you do, you're not going to have anybody to do the next 2 phases.
Right. This is also the phase in which you're laying out your park. As you buy the hexes, you're actually adding it to your board. Yes. And creating your park.
Yes. So you've got a starting board that you're going to build hexes upon, and this is what takes up a lot of space. Yes. So there's not room on the central table for us to do this. We had to do it on an auxiliary table. It worked okay, but like I said, depending on how you shape your map, I was running into situations where I was having to push my map up to get things to fit onto the table. So after the public phase, there is the private action phase, and at that one you can do simultaneously because everyone has their own map. This public one you can actually impact other players. Private one you can't really affect anybody. No. So you're placing your meeples and determining what actions you want to take. So you have 5 basic actions on your player starting map. And one is DNA refinement. This is how you can exchange existing DNA from your DNA tracks on your mat. So these are when you collect DNA, you're going to adjust your tracks. And you have a max of 10 in each variety of DNA. And there's 2 types of variety of DNA. There is the basic, which are the yellow, blue, and red. And then the advanced, which are teal, purple, and orange. And you want to try to maximize these, especially looking at the dinosaurs you're planning on building, because you're wanting to get proportionally what you need to build those dinosaurs. But the DNA refinement will let you trade 2 of the basic ones for one of the higher end DNA, or vice versa. You can break one of the higher ones to get 2 of the basic ones. Oh, yes. And you can do all these actions up to 3 times, but it requires up to 3 workers when you do them.
I gotta admit, I forgot about the break thing.
I didn't. I used it a couple times.
There are times when I wanted the blue, and I'm like, oh man, I don't have any blue, and I have all these things, and I can't do anything with it.
Because I got my purple like almost maxed out, and I'm like, I don't need purple. Well, what am I going to do with this? So I broke them down. So that was useful throughout.
Yeah.
You have, if you're running out of cash, there's a venture capitalist funding, VC funding on here. You can assign a worker, and they will give you 3 money, and then the second worker is 2, and the third is 1. So it's diminishing returns. But if you assign one of the green meeples there, you get an extra bonus coin. So he has a perk there. We didn't mention, but the green meeple also has a perk when buying the dinosaur.
Right. We didn't mention that, when you're buying a dinosaur place, it takes 2 meeple.
Yeah.
Unless you're using a green meeple, then it's only 1. That's the administrator.
Yes. So this is a second perk that the administrator, green meeple, gives you. The next one is security. Security is important at the end of the round because whatever your threat level is from accumulating dinosaurs, you've got to have a security level to match or exceed that, or else you're going to have people eaten automatically. Presumably, they're your staff that get eaten at this point.
They're feeding, and they didn't have enough food, and
Well, they became food,
right.
So now there was enough food. So you want to keep your security track in tune or ahead of your threat track. The fourth one is your Jeeple garage. So this is it's really important as well because your Jeeple track is how far your Jeep gets to move. You start out on the Welcome Center, which is a blank tile in essence. And from there, it's going to travel along adjacent tiles. And we'll get to that in a moment, but that's the next phase.
It also allows you to get bonuses for each round.
Right, income bonuses. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those are super helpful.
Very important.
Yeah, and planning, you get to plan and decide which ones you're going to put in each time you hit one of those thresholds. So you can assign something that, early in the game is going to be beneficial, because you get one out of the gate. And I like that. I like that a lot too. I like it. Because that way you're a bit custom from everybody else. You can kind of strategize. Is it going to be more helpful for me to get 2 money right away, or maybe build up a security right away? And so.
And I like that there are 4 slots but 5 options.
Yeah. You can choose which ones you want to use. So this was how you build up your track, and as you move up the track, you're also going to unlock additional arrows, which mean you can move 1 more space in your scoring when you do the Jeep movement. And then the last one is making dinosaurs, which is central to this game. If you don't make dinosaurs, it's going to be very challenging to win this game. So here is where you're going to spin the DNA based upon the tiles that are in the cages you acquired to determine how many dinosaurs you're going to build. There's advantage to building dinosaurs in the same cage because the more variety of tiles you have to visit, 1, it's going to use up your movement,
right?
But 2, it's going to cause boredom, which we'll get to here in a moment. So, that is the private action. So everybody finishes all of the actions they want to take, and when everybody says they're done, then you move into the Jeeple tour. And this is where you're plotting your course with your arrows. You assign them as you move to each space along the path. And as you move your Jeep, you get to take the action of that space, assuming you have workers to assign to the space. So you needed workers for your actions on your board. You needed workers for acquiring tiles and for acquiring DNA. So here you've got to have your meeples, and you get 9 total per round.
Right.
So
unless you get that bonus one.
Yeah, there's 1 bonus one that you can use your Jeeple bonus to accumulate as income. And you can also hold them over if you don't use them for the next round, which was not clearly stated on the card, by the way.
It wasn't.
It was in the rule book, but it was not stated on the card.
It made it sound like you had to give them away.
Yeah.
But in the rule book it specifies that that's not the case.
Yes. So your movement, you're going to plot and move your arrows, and each space you move to is going to generate some bonus. Most of the time, it's going to generate excitement. So the tiles will have a rating of excitement that it starts at, but then there's an almost I think every tile, if I didn't see any of them that didn't have it, had a negative with a number sign, and that is where you put these little tokens. So these tokens start out, you put one as a 1, and they go all the way up to a level 5. But those are the boredom tiles. And that was my favorite part of this game, I think.
So great.
I hate the fact that they're this little tiny token, but I love the concept of this.
Too.
So people get tired of going to the same attractions over and over and over again. Even if they are dinosaurs that are eating people, they get tired of seeing that. Yes. So the more times you go back to the same tiles, the more penalty you're going to suffer.
Right. The less excitement the people are having. They're like, oh, it's the same old thing over and over again.
And, so, and I think they did a good job of like assigning levels for those to the different tiles, because like security, for example, is a 0 excitement. And each time you go there, it's really helpful because it helps you boost up your track really quickly. But every time you go there, you're negative in excitement because you're Mom, do we have to visit the security center again? So yeah, I thought that was really cool, and the tiles are super fun when you visit them to get the different actions. You get the feeling that you're at this park and you're traveling through, and you're trying to make the kids happy, and maybe Uncle Steve got eaten, and so okay, well, we don't have to pay for his meal tonight. So it's fun going through your little town, or your not town, but your little park, and assigning your Jeep to it.
Yeah.
There's a few that made me wonder and scratch my head about how people got killed, because it's like, what is he doing in the Triceratops cage that he got trampled, So, but yeah, all in all, it's a really fun premise as far as the whole planning your tour through the park. And then at the end, it's just an income and cleanup phase where you basically reset the board. You're going to wipe a couple of the tiles off of each of the boards, and you're going to get your money from how much excitement you generated during the previous round. And you're going to get money based on some token if you chose the 2-coin bonus on the Jeep, and then all your other Jeep bonuses you'll get here. And then you're going to have to check your threat level compared to your security. Yeah. And if that is higher, now you're going to have more people get eaten, the employees here. Whereas, and when you actually visited we didn't mention that.
When you visit the dinosaurs.
Yes, when you visit the dinosaurs, you get excitement from visiting the dinosaurs, and that's where you get most of your excitement from. But you have to roll these dice depending on what type of dinosaur it is. They have one for each type of dinosaur: green, or purple, and red.
Danger die.
And you roll, and sometimes you get blank, and sometimes you get a death. Or 2 deaths on some of them.
I was pretty good at getting those death things.
Yeah, you were early on. I was like consistently getting like 1 here and there. But Miranda, of course, always the lucky one, ended up rolling blanks every time.
She ended up with only 3 deaths the whole game. I'm like, what?
Yeah. So, this is where the brutality of the game comes. You're killing these fictitious visitors to your park. But it's a lot of fun, and you don't want to be the one who has the most deaths during the game, because whoever has the fewest at the end of the game, and you play 5 rounds, they get to wipe out all of their deaths, and they have no penalty. And everyone else, however, for each death you have, there's a chart that shows how many victory points you lose. Yes. And it gets brutal. Brutal, yeah.
Luckily, none of us had to deal with the really brutal numbers.
I think you had 3 at the end after Miranda got rid of all ours.
Like we all started to get pretty cautious with how we handled things, and hoping that those dice don't roll. Somebody just kept avoiding the dinosaur pens just to try to not get any danger dice rolls.
Whereas I kept building up my security probably faster than I should have, and that was my downfall, and kept me from scoring as many points as I could have. Still came in really close.
Yeah, it was a fairly close game overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So As far as my enjoyment of this game, I really like this one. I like it a lot better than Dinosaur Island. This one, I'm probably going to give this an 8.5 as far as where I'm at on it from this first play. I like the concept of it. I think that a few things that are a little wonky that makes it feel a little bit fidgety. But all in all, I think this is better designed and streamlined than the previous entry. So, I'm 8.5.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with an 8. I liked the game. It was a very fun game. There were there's just some management things, especially. I like the idea of the little tokens of the boredom thing, but the managing of it was kind of like you were saying, wonky. Yeah, and I just wish there was an easier way to manage that.
Yeah, almost. If they made the tiles dry erase and you wrote the number, it would probably have been better than what they did.
Yeah, but even dry erase starts to
if you rub across.
So I think the chits are a decent way to go. I think there just needs to be a slightly better one, maybe a dial on the top. No.
Well, another option would have been like little dice, I guess, that you could have gone 1 to 5 on. But either way,
it's a hard thing to figure out. So I think they did a good job. With it. It's just something that you have to manage. It's another just managed thing, which I don't 100% dislike. It just gets a little tedious at times. Yeah,
and there's so many of the little ones. Trying to find the number you needed in there was. Ugh.
I dropped one earlier, and I was like, "Oh no!"
I'm probably going to be finding those on the floor for a few days here. So, well, that's our thoughts on Dinosaur World. So, if you were a fan of Dinosaur Island, definitely pick this one up. I think you're going to enjoy it. If you didn't like Dinosaur Island, maybe for the same type of reasons that I wasn't as big of a fan of it, give it a try. This one actually impressed me. So it got a much better score than what I would give to Dinosaur Island, which we haven't reviewed yet, but you've already gotten a taste for what I think of that one. So, and honestly, it's been so long since I played it, I probably want to go back and visit it again because it may change my opinion on it. It may have grown a little bit on me. Maybe this one will help positively affect that one. I don't know. So definitely I will be trying to give that one a try again. But this game here, I like the concept of. I think it's this better designed, more streamlined version of Dinosaur Island, and it has the fun factor of the dinosaur park. I love that. So, So, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a lot of fun. I haven't played Dinosaur Island. Mm-hmm. I do want to try it. Yeah. But I think this was, I've been wanting to play one of the dinosaur games, and this was. When I got here and I saw this was out, I was excited. I'm like, all right, let's do this. And my excitement didn't die down. I thought it was a great game. It's one that the only thing that it makes it a little harder for me is that it's a 4-player game and I have 5 people in my family. So, but other than that, I think it's a great game and I really enjoyed it.
All right. Well, until next time, make sure you hit, if you haven't already done it, hit that subscribe button because you want to be here. And we're going to get another one of these great games out. So talk to you later. Bye. Ciao.